I'm Candace Gourdain, and this is Fitness and Harmonies Pilates to reset these strong but not stressed abs. We want to release endorphins by squeezing in. So just try that a few times. Squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release. So if you can see yourself, maybe you can, maybe you can't. Maybe look down and see if your abdominals are actually going in. When I work with people one-on-one, a lot of times they don't know when they're squeezing their abs and when they're not. So just having that control, remember the essence of Pilates is being able to control. Now squeeze, control your midsection, and you can control everything. Hold that in. Now align the head so you're no longer tipped forward or looking down, but draw the chin slightly back, almost like you're trying to make a double chin there. Then we'll pull the shoulders onto the back and squeeze. So I'm squeezing the arms and the shoulder blades together behind me, but I'm also co-contracting the abdominals. 3 slow breaths. We're focused on controlling the abdomen so that we can reset the way our mind interacts with the body. Inhale and circle up, and then exhale, lean over and hold. Let's spend another few breaths here. The same feeling of controlling and contracting. Mostly we were contracting the front belly, let's call it. I want you to contract the side waist, the one that's now stretching. The essence of the mind-body exercises is not just your intention of paying attention, but it's also this concept that as I'm stretching and lengthening a muscle, I'm contracting and controlling. So stretching and lengthening, contracting and controlling at the same time. What that does is it wakes up the nervous system to ask the question, what am I doing? So contract that side waist while you're lengthening, if that makes sense to you. When you're ready now, inhale up, exhale up and over to the other side. That same thing. Now keep this upper shoulder blade pulled down and in. So you always want your arms connected to your body. It sounds really obvious and almost funny that I should say that. But what I mean is our shoulder blade can rise up and it can go down. Our shoulder blade is kind of like a jacket you would put over the back of your ribs. It's not really connected. There's not really a joint there that holds the shoulder blade in place. Those are just intelligent muscles. And those muscles, because we don't keep our shoulders in place, sometimes get overused, inflamed, and degenerate. Inhale as you come up. Turn to one side, let the arms down. Now I want you to do everything we just did. Pull the abdominal front belly in, but pull both side waists in. Now I want you to spiral up through the spine and kind of spiral up through the top of the head. So you don't have to turn your head as far as it can go. We're not an owl. We can see behind us without turning our head, right? Most of us have that ability. But use your abdominal muscles to spiral up and draw energy up and into the top of the head. Inhale again. And exhale, squeeze a little bit harder this time. Exhale back to center. Let's inhale, stretch up. Turn to the other side, let the arms down. Now I'm automatically grabbing this leg and doing sort of a pull. Even if you can do that and you want to do that, I'm gonna say almost don't do that. Don't pull like you're doing a row. We're gonna use these bands, these stretchy bands, and get a good arm workout today. So don't make this an arm workout. This is about collecting and controlling the corset of the waist, the powerhouse, that energy generator that controls and holds, uplifts, and defends. Defends the internal organs. What needs more defending than your internal organs? Maybe your face or your neck. I would protect my neck. There's a lot of important nerves and things that go through the neck. One more breath. And then exhale, release back to center. So let's recross the legs. I want to do one more stretch. You know I love the stretches. You know I'm going to give you lots of stretches. So inhale up, exhale back. Remember what I said about your shoulder blades. Let that shawl drape down and back and behind you. So I just said don't expose your neck. Expose your neck and your chest a little bit. So widen out through the chest. Inhale up and then exhale to forward fold. Let's crawl the hands forward. So one arm reaches, then the other reaches, then the other reaches, and then dive down. So let the heart melt. Three breaths. So we're really not contracting and controlling the abs a lot. Imagine that you have levels. Level 1 is kind of your normal, everyday, kind of letting it sag and flab. Level 2 is I'm paying attention and I'm holding. Level 3 is I'm grasping and really controlling. So there'll be times during your workout today, well, you'll be at one of those 3 levels. So give yourself space to back off back to level 1.5, where you're still paying attention and holding a little. One more breath here. Inhale, exhale, then begin to crawl your way back up. Grab your strap. Now, if you don't have a strap, I'm saying a strap, I mean a band, one of these elastic numbers. If you don't have that, sometimes you'll be able to use a regular strap or belt or tie or towel, but for some of these things, you're just gonna have to do the arm movements without it. For this one, you'd have to do the arm movements sort of without it. So take that band. Remember, some bands are really thick, some are kind of thin. Crunched up in your hand with your thumbs pointing out. Do that same number where you roll the shoulders back, but then pull the elbows in. All right, so my elbows now are touching my ribs. Okay, whether that's rib or something else there, make sure you're making a good connection, like you're making a good circuit. So if you can, and the band is stretchy enough, rotate the arm bones out and back in. Out and in. So I just talked about how your shoulder blades are attached to your body, and I said there were little muscles around the shoulder blade that holds it essentially attached to those ribs back there, but not really, only for when you really need to move your arm. But the fact is, most of us hold those muscles tight all of the time. So those muscles, they're refinement muscles. They're kind of like the muscles in your pinky or your ring finger. They're not meant to hold on hard. So all we're trying to do here is wake them up so they do pay attention. So when we come into plank pose, they're holding on, and they're holding the ribs and the shoulder blades together. Now hold this out and little pulses out. Now if you didn't have the strap or the band, that's okay. Just fake it like this. Do this exercise a couple of times a day, with or without the band. It reminds you that my shoulder blades should be holding, not falling forward all the time. 3, 2, hold out, and now squeeze the belly in, relax the belly. Squeeze the belly in, relax the belly. Remember the very first thing we did when I said, can you make it move? A little belly dancing action here. Squeeze and hold the belly and the arms, and then release kind of everything. Oh, I feel that. Let's put the band down for a second. We'll take a big circle with one arm and let that fall down. Take a big circle with the other arm. Do this again, but now integrate the inhale, exhale, other arm, inhale, exhale. Now integrate the abdominals. Inhale, you begin to notice there's abdominals. Exhale, you pull them in. Again, inhale, I have abdominals. Exhale, I'm pulling them in and up. One more time, left and right. Whenever you exhale, let this be your time. So stop, stop, to let your shoulders fall down. Let your head spin around, just like a little bit of a wobble one way and the other. Inhale, exhale. If at any time during your practice today you feel your upper neck shoulder, that's the trapezius muscle, get really tight or tense, give it a little squeeze there. Give it a little squeeze there. So learn how to do that self-soothing little neck shoulder massage again and again, so that you can, during the day, when you find yourself like elevated and intense and you can't get yourself under control, do that little neck shoulder massage. Go down a little bit further towards the back of your shoulder and squeeze a little bit there too. Good. Good. Since we're holding on to that band, that's going to happen a little bit extra today. So let's start out in a little bit of a boat pose. So I turn, bring the feet to the floor, So I'm going to imagine I'm in a lazy boy. I'm going to take that handle, you know the handle in the lazy boy, and pull both handles back like a row. Keep the chest lifted up. Now zip the core muscles in and up, and then lean back. Okay, some of us have like a tailbone back there. It's kind of like a tripod. And if that tailbone just like poked into the floor, don't lean back so far. There is no reason to make that tailbone angry at you. I mean, it's a tailbone. It's fine the way it is. We don't need to work it. We're no prehensile tailbone here. Now, from here, maybe you're holding on, maybe those arms are out, maybe those arms are squeezed back. Round the low back and lift. Round, spilling the contents of the abdominals under the rib cage and back up. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, grow the back of the spine. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze those shoulder blades. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze, roll. Inhale. 2 and 1. Good. From here, we'll grab the band again and then roll down and onto the back. So I'm going to switch over to my longer band, and it's also a thicker band because when I work with my legs, I don't know if you've got a bunch of bands, but you probably want a thicker one for your legs and a thinner one for your arms, probably. Come down, loop the band around your foot, and I'm going to say the ball mound of the foot, you know, where the toes almost meet the sole of the foot. Then from here, we're going to take that leg down and up. Make sure you don't wrap your band around. Don't ever wrap anything around your hand. That goes for when you're walking your dog too. Take it from me. Anything can happen, so hold on like you're holding on, oh, I don't know, like a microphone, people say. Hold it like a microphone. Elbows cinched into the floor. Remember those elbows squeezing the waist or the ribs, whatever you've got there. Flex both feet powerfully. Now put your mind into lengthening the spine and lengthening the leg. This leg that's long is straight is getting longer. It's as if the sides, the ligaments and the tendons are all stretching out through the heel. Inhale, exhale. Now go back as you continue with the leg. Go back to that breathing pattern. You inhale through the nose, you blow out through the mouth, but when you exhale, squeeze the belly in. So control, but don't contract. Remember the trapezius we just rubbed out? Don't contract that. You really don't have to. If the elbows are on the floor is holding the band. You don't have to work as hard. So you're not really pulling. You're not trying to pull this leg up. Your leg muscles are doing this. Now begin to kind of bicycle. So heel down, bend the knee, draw the knee into the nose, extend the leg up overhead, point the toe and go back down. Flex, knee to nose, toe to head, point the toe, flow around. All right, if you've got that, and I know you do. Inhale, ujjayi, or blow out to the mouth, exhale. If you're like me, it's really hard to remember all these different breathing styles. But the exhale is your cue to 1, contract the abdominals, and 2, soften those shoulders. Exercise is good because it puts pressure, it puts stress on the muscles and the tendons and the bones so that they get stronger and they adapt. But it's not good if that stress becomes your way of being. You have to be able to differentiate. So as you're going through this movement pattern, I want you to authentically notice how you are reacting to this. So I guess it was last week before someone said, boy, you did a lot of that one thing. So I do notice that when I'm setting up concentration, I do a lot of this one exercise. 2 more times. Exhale, authentically note what you're feeling. Good. Let's just take a stretch. So take that leg back up, kind of give it a pull on the back of your leg. Stretch. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring the band to more of my toes and pull my toes and the forefoot. I'll call the, where the toes are, I'll call that the forefoot. Pull the forefoot down because my Achilles, soleus, and gastrocnemius, the back of my heel, may have been what's caused my plantar fasciitis. I don't think so. I think it was bad shoes. But either way, all of those muscles reacted trying to protect me. Now I invite you to slow down the breath. And I'm going to ask you to do something here you never thought about doing before. I want you to release endorphins. They come from a little gland in your head, nestled in your brain. They also can come from other glands like the adrenal glands, like the thyroid. But the point is, I want you to imagine that you have the ability to release, meaning, pump out endorphins that feel good. Invite yourself in so that you're not overwhelmed by the world, most importantly, because that's where you are most of the time, or by these exercises. One more slow breath. Release, relax the shoulders, give them a shimmy, 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 shake, and then we'll go to the other leg. Remember, the band is around kind of the ball of the foot. We plant the elbows not only into the ribs, but into the floor, so you need a certain length band. All we did here was drop the leg down and up. Now, when I did that and I dropped my leg down, I felt my lower abdominals sort of squeeze and knit and pull in together. They had to. If they didn't, I probably would have flipped up or something like that. So notice when you naturally are using your abdominals, and just accentuate that. That's all we're doing, is we're training the muscles, specifically the abdominal muscles here, to contract when we need anchoring. So anchor the two shoulder blades down into the floor. Anchor the leg that's stretched out on the floor. Anchor that down on the floor. Consciously contract around the waist. So remember those obliques. Invite yourself to authentically learn. So you can contract just your obliques without your transverse abdominis, believe it or not. You can contract just part of your transverse abdominis. It's possible. All those things are possible. But you don't really have a reason to isolate them right now. We want them all to work together. After two, remember, your goal here really is to make the mind notice when you're contracting. Then begin, remember that bicycle pattern where you drag the knee to the nose, extend the leg up overhead, point the toe, and flow the leg back down. You might find it easier or more productive to close your eyes so that you can see this circle. This is something of a circle, but it doesn't have to be a perfect circle. What it has to be is something that's controlled mini micro movement by mini micro movement by your mind. So there's no point of this movement pattern that you're not controlling. So maybe go slower and keep your hips under control. Remember, I just said that some parts of your body are always going to contract and try to stabilize. So notice the back of your abdominals, around the rim of the pelvic bowl. Notice the neck and the shoulder muscles and make sure they're a little bit engaged, but they're not creating any extra stress. Because in a moment when we come out of this, I'm going to ask you to release those endorphins. So you have to have endorphins to release. So part of our practice has to reset the mental with the physical bodies. 3 more times without the shoulder blade rolling around, without pulling that hard on your hands, your fists. Exhale, and then let's just lift the leg up, take a stretch. I'm going to move this band a little bit higher up to the top of my toes so I can pull the
toes back too. Be careful. It's a good time to tell you that this band can flip off of your foot and these bands do break. So a lot of things can happen with these bands. Keep them kind of away from your face as best you can. All right, I want you to resume a slow breath. I want you to recognize now that you were overwhelmed. You were stressed. There are pressures on you in life and on the mat here that you have been working through and with and under. It's like this pressure is in every direction coming at you. With these next 3 breaths, I want you to release endorphins. These are feel-good hormones and neurochemicals, and they're partial chemicals that your body is always making. Don't worry, you're not out of them. And the more you go into a rest cycle, the more of them you have. So that's a good thing about resting. One more breath. Good. So take that band off. Yay. Hug the knees into the chest and rock side to side. Today's practice is really dedicated to restoring and resetting so that you're strong but not stressed. So remember those levels 1, 2, 3, how hard. Right now, I would expect your abs are at like that level 1. They're there, right? They're obviously keeping you from spilling out, but they're not really working that hard and you're not really paying attention to them. So just notice the difference, level 1, 2, and 3. Not to be confused with when an instructor says, I want you to work harder or work harder, a level 1, 2, and 3. Those things don't matter. At least to me, they don't matter. You work within the frame of where your body is now. There's no levels. There's just where you are. When you're ready, I'm going to ask you to come up. So you might roll to your side, or you might rock and roll, or you might swivel your way up. Come into child's pose. Let's come around and press the hips back. Same as before. I want you to crawl one arm forward and pull back. Remember that arm never becomes dislocated. So when I say pull back, I'm pulling back from the seat of the arm bone. Then walk the other arm forward and pull back like you're hanging off that cliff. Then walk both arms a little bit forward and pull back. Now really pull down. You know that lat pull down machine where you're pulling the bar down or you're doing a pull up? Same action. Control the shoulder blades here. If this hurts, please stop. If this hurts, this means there's some dysfunction in your shoulder that you can't just kind of will away. That it's such an oddly shaped bone that it's really hard to find a perfect shape there. It's going to take a lot of very specific therapy to get that to go away. So don't try to just will a shoulder pain away. Let's come up into hands and knees. Extend one leg straight back. Now I'm going to ask you to take that leg and swing it left and right. Now here's the hard part. More and more, keep the body from moving. More and more, squeeze the core muscles. Imagine you have 2 plates of steel on either side of your waist. And so your waist can't move. If you ever had one of those corsets, that has like the bones, a strapless bra, the old ones. They have those bones of steel there on the side. So comfortable. I'm so glad someone invented that. So comfortable. 3, 2, and 1. Let's take that same leg, step it through, and then lean forward to a low lunge. I do have my blocks here. Even if you don't have your blocks, that's okay. You can always put your hands on this front knee, but keep pushing forward. Try to fully relax your back leg.
Now try to fully relax your shoulders. You know, that neck shoulder trapezius muscle that we rubbed out before? Try to relax those. Chances are that when you put your hands on the block or on your leg, you kind of grabbed at it. It's what our hands have been trained to do. And because you kind of grabbed at it, that neck muscle shoulder got tight. So try to, at once, squeeze the abdominals, relax the back leg, and soften that neck shoulder muscle. Chances are one of those three things had more meaning. So go back to that one and do it again. One more breath. Good. We'll step back into hands and knees. Wow. Do a couple of cat-cow here. Round, extend, round, extend, wiggle, 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 wiggle shoulders, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle hips. Push the hips back, crawl one arm forward, and drag the hips back. Switch to the other side, crawl one arm forward, push and smash the hand into the floor and drag. Remember dragging the arm into the shoulder socket. We never really want to dislocate that. And I'm using that a little bit in a cavalier way. You're not really dislocating. We just don't want to overstretch it. Let's come back up to hands and knees. Now the other leg, stretch it back, hold. Lengthen the inner and outer seams of that leg. Then wave your legs side to side. All right, abs. My abs just went, whoop. What? Take advantage of that cue to authentically coordinate with your abdominals. They're going to naturally do the right thing. They're going to naturally try to hold your body to prevent any unnecessary movements. All you're doing is paying attention to that. Pay attention more to what the muscles are trying to do, and it's like you're giving them the green light. Remember that level 1, 2, and 3? You should probably be holding these abs at a level 3, because I don't know about you, but my hips naturally want to swing left and right, so I have to hold that there. 3, 2, and 1. We're going to take that leg and step it forward and through. Coming back to that low lunge. Gracefully soak your way in. Remember the 3 things we were looking at here? Soften the back leg. Brace the abdominals. Did you feel that? I don't know. So my back leg there was soft. And when I braced my abdominals, I felt a pull in that iliopsoas. People say groin, okay, the hip flexor muscle there. And then the third thing is soften the tops of your shoulders. You should almost feel like something's moving out across the shoulders there. Let's do that again. Soften the back leg. Squeeze the abdominals. Soften the shoulders like they're spreading out. Three. We'll step back and make our way into downward dog. Kind of feel, like I said before, authentically notice what your body is needing and feeling. A few times with me here, lift the heels up and down. All right, I always need to stretch and glide through the back of my heel there, so this is a good stretch for me.
warming up the bottoms of the feet, and then walk your way forward. Good. I want you to believe that you are adapting, you're changing, you're feeling better breath by breath. Remember that releasing the endorphin thing? That is something you actually can do. You really can change your mind. Combination of the breath and really a belief system that you can do it. When we come up, I'm going to ask you to grab your band again. So I'm going to take the smaller one. No, I'm not. I'm going to take the thicker one and come up. So since I never waste any movement, I grabbed it on the way up. I'm going to ask if you can tie it around your ankles with your ankles, oh, I don't know, maybe about 6 or 8 inches apart, not far apart at all. I know this is going to be a challenge if you have a very long band as I do. Make a bow. You know what bow is. Because then you'll be able to untie it eventually. I hope you have some piece of furniture close to you. I should have said that before I tied your ankles up, didn't I? Right. If you didn't get that, that's okay. Forget the band. Forget it. It's okay if you didn't get that part. If you want to watch the video over and over, all right, holding on to your little chair here, back of your couch, I'm going to take one leg out and in. Now be really careful here. The first thing I wanted you to do is to take like a full minute to get balance. I'm not going to correct anything yet. Maybe you've taken the band off and given up for today. That's okay. But get balance first. That's all. Balance is number one. I'm not falling. Next, the foot you're balancing on, put all 4 corners of it, the front wheels and the back wheels, put them all down evenly. That's part of balance. The knee you're standing on, give it a little bit of a bend, not much, just enough that it's not locked back. Locked back, bends a little. You got it. Next thing, the leg that's moving out, its knee and its toe are pointing a little bit in. Not all the way in, but not all the way out. A little bit in, just enough that you feel the difference. All right, we're really working the tensor fasciae latae, we're working the outer knee here, those ligaments there. We're actually working that ankle. Do 3 more. 2, 1. Let's go to the other side. So plant that foot down. Gain your balance. You might just stand there and wait. And then try lifting this leg out. All right, this one's going to be harder for you because that leg was already working super hard. So both legs are a little bit fatigued at this point. I know I did 100 of these. I'm sorry. I had to wait for you to get balance. Remember, the goal of Pilates is to control the abdominals so that the forces that have to flow through there can do so in a healthy and open way. So it's not just about tightness. Tightness isn't good. Tightness isn't good. Resiliency and elasticity are good. This one's much harder. I'm having a hard time with this side. Remember, the 4 corners of the foot on the floor, those 4 wheels, I guess. This knee is slightly bent and this leg is turned in a little bit. Not all the way in, not all the way out, but a little bit. 4, feeling glutes now. 3, 2, and 1. All right, we're gonna go back to that other leg. Now take this foot and put the band around the foot, sort of the instep of the foot, and then kick the foot forward and across. Good time to be holding on to your friend here. And little lifts up and down. Up from the side, it looks like left and release. Lift. Like a soccer kick across the front of your body, across the midline. This one takes a little bit more work, but I wanted to work the inner because we just worked the outer, so let's give that nice balance.
Oh, we're coming up on some great relaxation, friends. So give yourself a little pat on the back that this isn't gonna last forever. Balance, balance, balance your breath, balance your body. 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, let's switch. So then put that foot down. You have to wiggle the band to sort of your instep of this other foot. Take it in front of it and across. You got it. You figured it out. And little lifts. Little lifts. Maybe more important than the hips is the work we're getting on our knee here. So the knee usually is not a problem. Isn't that surprising? Your knee is never really the problem. The problem is the forces your hip or your ankle are exerting on the knee. So if we can strengthen the knee, a lot of times we can correct those imbalances. 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, leave the thing tied, but take it off your foot. Let's do one flow. Bring the hands together, circle up. Exhale, extend up and back. Inhale up, forward fold, walk into plank pose. So walk, 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 hands forward, step the toes back, hold. All right, I want to challenge you here to just hold. Remember all the work we just did with the shoulder blades? Remember I said keep those shoulder blades, those little pinky type muscles are holding. Work those little pinky muscles. Remember we were opening the arms out to the side. Now contract the abdominal muscles. So while we're under this pressure, while we're under this stress, we're communicating authentically with the feeling sensations and giving muscles the energy and the strength that they need to get kind of through this. 3 more breaths. Keep the tops of the shoulders open, not completely relaxed, but open. 1 more breath. And then push back into child's pose. So good old-fashioned child's pose for about 3 breaths. All right, kind of quickly here. We're going to grab the strap band and put it on the ankles again. I just didn't want you coming up and down, you know. So it's on the ankles. Same thing we did before. Put it on one of the feet. You see that? It's on one ankle and 1 foot. Come around into hands and knees. Keep tension, otherwise that'll fall off. You may have to rewind this and do it again later once you get the strap going the way that you wanted it to go. Brace the abdominals. Keep this foot holding on to the strap. Does that make sense? And then push up and down. Push the heel up to the sky and down. All right, that strap is hurting something. You've got it kind of too tight. It doesn't have to be that tight. Or, I don't know what to tell you. Some people are really sensitive to the strap. Just do this without the strap. All right, now you've done enough of these that you've noticed that, of course, it's your glutes doing the heavy lifting, but it's your abs that are resisting. Make this an abdominal strengthening exercise. 4, 3, 2, good. Let's go over to the other side. So then, ankle and foot. I know that takes a little bit of, coordination there, but it looks to me like you've already got it, so good for you. Kick the heel up and down. Now don't be in a hurry to get that leg flying up and down. That's really not the point here. The point here is controlling the lower abdominals, and the arms and the legs are doing things that are challenging that. So whether your leg goes up or down, you're doing the same work, that same internal work in the abdominals. Remember those shoulder blades? More important than what we're doing with the glute or the band here. 4 shoulder blades in and down Tops of the shoulders wide. 2 more. 2. Nice work. So coming all the way down and around. We're not going to use that band again. Let's come down to the back. Cross the ankle over. Bring the knee in. And I'm going to twist it a little bit off to this other side. So fold your knee down onto your chest or shoulder. Take 3 recovery breaths. And then switch to the other leg. Slowly fold the knee down into the chest or across to the other shoulder. 3 recovery breaths. And then unwind. If you have blocks, chances are, since you think I'm a yoga instructor, you brought blocks. So if you have blocks, I'm going to put 1 block under my hips and do a supported bridge pose here. That's what I always need. But some of us prefer the block under the shoulder blade and then another block under the head. So a supported chest opening pose. I want to spend a full minute luxuriating in this pose, whichever recovery pose feels better for you. Take some slow, deep, accessing the deepest tissues of the body breaths. After 3 slow breaths, I invite you to take the props out and come down to a Shavasana. Just a minute here. So once you come all the way down, I want you to reassess. Honestly go inside the body. And I want you to imagine that your mind is traveling through your body and tending to all the little fractured, hurt, or uncomfortable places. So imagine that you just worked out your shoulders and they're sore or stiff. Send your mind to your shoulders. Draw one knee into the chest. Use your hands and give that leg a pull. Let it go. Draw the other knee into the chest. With your hands, give it a pull. Let it go.
Roll onto your side. Open your eyes. Push up and off the floor. Come back to an easy pose. Let's inhale and stretch up, reach up. Exhale. That means that you're all done. You did it. Wonderful job today, guys. Thank you.